The Grand Galactic Council chamber stretched before Ambassador Tae-sung like a vast cathedral of glass and metal. 47 species gathered here, each representing worlds scattered across the galaxy. The chamber curved upward in tiers, allowing every delegate to see and be seen. Holographic displays floated in the air, translating languages in real time. The soft hum of technology filled the space. Tae-sung walked slowly to his seat. His dark suit stood out against the colorful robes and armor worn by other delegates. He carried no weapons, no symbols of power, just a simple datapad tucked under his arm. Other species whispered as he passed. The human was here. That was enough to start conversations. The Techron delegation sat in the upper tier. High Chancellor HFY towered over most other beings. His insectoid body gleamed under the lights, chitinous plates reflecting green and black. 4 arms crossed over his chest. His compound eyes tracked Tae-sung's movement with what looked like amusement. The human honors us with his presence, HFY announced loudly. Several species laughed. Others shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Tae-sung took his seat without responding. He placed his datapad on the armrest and waited. His face showed nothing. No anger, no reaction at all. Council Speaker Yultam called the session to order. The elderly diplomat's gray skin wrinkled around his eyes. He had served on the council for 60 years. He remembered things others preferred to forget. Today's agenda concerns the Techron hegemony's proposal, Yultam said. His voice carried weight despite its softness. They request expansion rights into the neutral fringe territories. A 3-dimensional map appeared in the center of the chamber. The neutral fringe glowed in blue, a buffer zone between major powers. Empty space, or so most species believed. HFY stood. The neutral fringe wastes valuable resources. My people can develop these systems. Bring order to chaos. We have the military strength to patrol and protect this region. Several delegates nodded. The Techron military was impressive. 300 warships, thousands of support vessels. They had conquered 7 species in the last century. The fringe has remained neutral for 20 years, said a delegate from the Miran Confederation. Since the contact wars ended, there were reasons for this decision. Ancient history. HFY waved a clawed hand dismissively. The contact wars are over. The treaties that ended them are outdated. We propose modernization. More delegates spoke. Some supported the expansion. Others expressed concerns. The debate continued for an hour. Tae-sung listened to everything. He never moved except to occasionally glance at his datapad. The human is very quiet today, HFY observed during a pause. Does Earth have no opinion on this matter? All eyes turned to Tae-sung. He looked up slowly, meeting HFY's gaze. We have opinions, Tae-sung said simply. His voice was calm, almost gentle. Then share them. HFY gestured dramatically. Though I suspect one vote will not change the outcome. Tae-sung stood. The chamber fell silent. It was strange how much attention humans commanded despite representing only one world. We acknowledge the Techron hegemony's strength. Tae-sung began. Your military capabilities are impressive. Your expansion across your sector has been efficient. HFY's mandibles clicked in satisfaction. However, Tae-sung continued, we must vote against this proposal. On what grounds? HFY demanded. The neutral fringe serves important purposes. Strategic purposes, for whom? Humanity? Your species controls a handful of systems. You have no stake in the fringe territories. Tae-sung tilted his head slightly. We have some interests in the region. Minor installations. Monitoring stations. Nothing significant. Then you waste our time with meaningless objections, HFY said. Perhaps, Tae-sung agreed. Let the council decide. Yultam called for the vote. The holographic display showed the results in real time. One by one, species cast their votes. The numbers climbed. 20 votes for expansion, 30 votes, 35. When the final count appeared, 37 species supported the Techron proposal. 8 abstained. Only humanity voted against it. HFY stood again, spreading his forearms wide. The matter is settled. The neutral fringe will be developed. The Techron hegemony will bring order to these empty spaces. Several delegates applauded. Others looked uncomfortable but said nothing. The Techron military was not something most species wanted to oppose. Tae-sung gathered his datapad. He seemed ready to leave. Then he paused as if remembering something. A minor point, he said quietly. The chamber had begun to empty. Delegates heading to side chambers for private discussions. But Taesung's voice, though soft, carried somehow. Species stopped. They turned back. Yes? Hyultam asked nervously. Those monitoring stations I mentioned. 7 of them are scattered throughout the fringe territories. They've been there for 18 years. Taesung spoke casually as if discussing the weather. We placed them after the contact wars. Standard procedure. What of it? HFY asked. They report directly to Admiral Kyungmin's command structure. The name hung in the air like a physical weight. Taesung continued in the same mild tone. The Admiral will be disappointed by today's vote. He values stability in that region. Several delegates had gone completely still. The Vrin representative's scales changed color, fading to pale white. The Krell delegate's breathing tubes flared wide. Is that a threat? HFY's voice had changed. Less confident now. A threat? Taesung looked genuinely confused. No, Chancellor. Simply an observation. Admiral Kyungmin monitors those stations personally. He takes interest in activity near them. Taesung tucked his datapad under his arm. I simply wanted the Council to have complete information. Good day. He walked toward the exit. His footsteps echoed in the sudden silence. Hyultam rose quickly. I call for a brief recess, 1 hour. We reconvene to discuss procedural matters. HFY stood frozen in his tier. Around him, delegates were activating personal communicators. Frantic conversations began in a dozen languages. The Moran delegate was already running toward the exit, presumably to contact his homeworld. Taesung reached the chamber doors. He paused and turned back. His expression remained pleasant, almost friendly. Oh, and Chancellor, he called up to HFY. Congratulations on your victory today. Then he left. In the upper tier, HFY stared at the empty doorway. His mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of stress among his species. One of his military advisors leaned close, whispering urgently. Around the chamber, the word Kyungmin passed from delegate to delegate like a curse. Those too young to remember the contact wars asked questions. Those old enough to remember looked afraid. Hyultam slumped in his chair, gray skin somehow paler than before. He had fought beside human ships during the contact wars. He knew what that name meant. Outside the chamber, Taesung walked slowly through the station's corridors. His face showed nothing, but deep in his pocket his communicator vibrated once. A message from Captain Hana aboard the Eternal Vigilance. It contained only 2 words. They're listening. Taesung smiled slightly and kept walking. The Techron Military Command Center buzzed with activity. Screens covered every wall, showing fleet positions across 3 sectors. High Chancellor HFY stood at the central display, watching red dots that represented his warships. Status report, he demanded. All fleets are in position, Chancellor, his chief military advisor replied. The advance force is ready to enter the neutral fringe. 300 ships fully armed and prepared. HFY should have felt satisfied. Instead, something gnawed at him. That human's voice, that name. What do we know about Admiral Kyungmin? He asked. The room went quiet. Officers exchanged glances. He commanded human forces during the contact wars, one officer finally said. The records are incomplete. Incomplete? Many species deleted their records from that period, Chancellor. What remains is fragmented. HFY's mandibles clicked in frustration. Find out everything. I want a complete profile within the hour. Across the station, in a small diplomatic suite, Taesung sat alone. He poured himself tea from a simple ceramic pot. The tea was from Earth, grown in the mountains of Gangwon Province. He took a sip and waited. His communicator chimed. A request for private meeting from Council Speaker Hyultam. Come, Taesung sent back. Hyultam arrived 10 minutes later. The elderly diplomat looked tired. Decades of service showed in every line of his face. May I sit? Hyultam asked. Taesung gestured to the chair across from him. Tea? No, thank you. Hyultam sat heavily. We need to talk about what happened in the chamber. The vote was clear, Taesung said mildly. You mentioned Kyungmin's name. I stated a fact. Those monitoring stations do report to him. Hyultam leaned forward. Taesung, I fought in the contact wars. My people were allied with yours. I saw what your fleets did to the Vrin Collective. The Vrin attacked our colonies. And paid for it, Hyultam said quietly. They sent 300 warships. None returned home. War has costs. The Krell Empire tried to blockade Earth itself, Yultom continued. They surrounded your homeworld with 500 ships. The blockade lasted 3 days before every single vessel disappeared. Tae-sung sipped his tea. History, not history. Memory, terror. Yultom's voice shook slightly. I was there when the Krell survivors reported what happened. They said human ships appeared from nowhere, struck without warning, vanished like ghosts. When they tried to coordinate defenses, their communications went dark. One by one, ships stopped responding. By the 3rd day, the entire fleet was gone. The contact wars ended 20 years ago, Tae-sung said. Exactly, 20 years of silence from humanity. 20 years of wondering where your fleets are, what weapons you developed, how you see the galaxy now. Yultom stood abruptly. You mentioned Kyungmin knowing those stations. Was that necessary? The Council should have complete information. You're playing with fire. Tae-sung finally looked up, meeting Yultom's eyes. Fire was never our preferred weapon. We favor the cold and dark. Yultom left without another word. In the station's military docking section, Captain Hana stood on the bridge of the Eternal Vigilance. The ship hung silently in its berth, looking almost peaceful. Other vessels came and went, but the human ship never moved. Status? Hana asked. All systems quiet, Commander Rin reported from the tactical station. We're maintaining passive sensor mode only. No one knows we're watching. Good. Keep monitoring Techron communications. Captain, they're panicking. I'm picking up encrypted transmissions to their fleets. Emergency protocols being activated. Hana smiled slightly. One name. That's all it took. Should we increase our alert status? No, stay dark. Let them wonder. Deep in Techron space, the advance fleet received new orders. The commander read them twice, not believing what he saw. Hold position, he said aloud. We're supposed to enter the fringe tomorrow. His second officer looked nervous. Orders from high command. They want intelligence reports first. Intelligence on what? It's empty space. Apparently not, sir. There are human monitoring stations in the region. The commander felt something cold settle in his chest. Humans? 7 stations. Been there for 18 years. Every Techron officer in the command center had stopped working. They all stared at their commander. Did anyone know about these stations? The commander asked. Silence. Find them. I want their exact positions. I want to know what they're monitoring. And I want to know why nobody told me humans were in the fringe. Back at the council station, information flowed through unofficial channels. Delegates contacted their homeworlds. Military advisors pulled old files. Species that fought in the contact wars shared stories with those too young to remember. The Vrin representative sat in his quarters, reading reports that made his scales turn pale. 300 ships lost. Not destroyed in glorious battle. Simply gone. Taken one by an enemy that never showed itself completely. The reports described impossible things. Human ships that bent sensor readings. Weapons that struck from impossible distances. Tactical precision that seemed supernatural. And always the silence. Humans never gloated. Never threatened. They simply acted. One report caught the Vrin's attention. It came from a survivor of the contact wars, now a military historian. Human warfare differs fundamentally from other species, the report stated. Most species fight for territory, resources, or honor. Humans fight to end threats permanently. They do not accept surrender until they have stripped away all capacity for future aggression. They are patient. They watch for years if necessary. And when they strike everywhere at once. The report continued. Admiral Kyungmin exemplifies this approach. He never engages in fair fights. He never accepts traditional battle formations. His fleets exist in the shadows until the moment of attack. Then they emerge, complete their objectives, and vanish again. He has never lost an engagement because he only fights battles he has already won. The Vrin representative closed the file. His hands shook. HFY finally received the intelligence report he demanded. He read it in his private chambers away from his officers. The file was shorter than expected. Large sections were marked as deleted or lost, but what remained was enough. Admiral Kyungmin. Human. Age unknown. Service record classified. Known engagements 47. Victories 47. Losses 0. Notable actions. Complete destruction of Vrin invasion fleet. Dissolution of Krell blockade. Neutralization of Harkon planetary defenses without planetary bombardment. 17 other major engagements resulting in total enemy defeat with minimal human casualties. Current status, active. Location, unknown. Fleet strength, unknown. Last confirmed sighting, 12 years ago. One line at the bottom of the report made HFY's mandibles click rapidly. Assessment. Admiral Kyung Min represents the highest threat level in the known galaxy. Avoid engagement at all costs. If engagement unavoidable, assume total loss of all deployed forces. HFY set down the datapad. His four hands trembled slightly. Outside his window, stars glittered in the darkness. Somewhere out there, human ships moved through that darkness, watching, waiting. He activated his communicator. Connect me to the Advanced Fleet Commander. Yes, Chancellor. I want full sensor sweeps of the neutral fringe. I want to know where every human station is located. And I want scouts sent to verify their status. At once, Chancellor. HFY cut the connection. He stared at his reflection in the dark window. For the first time in his military career, he felt something unfamiliar. Fear, not of what he could see, but of what remained hidden in the dark. Aboard the Eternal Vigilance, alarms chimed softly. Commander Rin looked up from her station. Captain, Techron scouts are moving toward the fringe. They're looking for our monitoring stations. Hana turned to her tactical officer. How many scouts? 12 ships. Small vessels, fast. Let them look, Hana said calmly. Make sure they find what we want them to find. And what's that, Captain? Hana smiled. Shadows and questions. Nothing more. The Techron scout ships entered the neutral fringe like nervous prey entering a predator's territory. 12 vessels spread out in a wide search pattern, their sensors running at maximum capacity. Commander Voth led the scout fleet from his light cruiser. He had served in the Techron military for 30 years. He had faced pirates, rebels, and hostile species. None of those experiences prepared him for the fear he felt now. Report, he ordered. Sensors are picking up unusual readings, his scanner officer said. Electromagnetic signatures scattered throughout the sector. Could be the human monitoring stations? Could be. The signatures are faint, sir. Almost like echoes rather than actual installations. Voth felt his breathing tubes tighten. Define echoes. The readings appear and disappear. When we focus sensors on a location, the signature fades. When we look away, it returns. That's not possible. I know, sir. Voth stared at the tactical display. Red dots marked his ships. Blue zones indicated possible human installations. Or maybe nothing at all. The uncertainty gnawed at him. Scout 3, move to investigate the nearest signature, Voth commanded. Acknowledged. The small vessel altered course, heading toward a moon in an empty system. Sensors indicated something was there. A structure. Energy readings. Something. Scout 3 approached carefully. Its captain reported back in real time. Entering orbit now. Scanning the surface. I'm detecting... Wait. Voth leaned forward. Report. There's nothing here. No structure. No installation. The readings are gone. Impossible. We saw the signature. It's gone now, sir. Just empty rock. Before Voth could respond, Scout 7 transmitted urgently. Commander, I'm picking up the signature now. It's here in my sector. That's 3 systems away from Scout 3's position, Voth said slowly. Yes, sir. The same energy signature. It moved. Energy signatures don't move. This one did, sir. Voth felt cold fear spreading through his body. All ships maintain positions. Do not approach any signatures without my direct order. Sir, Scout 9 is not responding. Voth's mandibles locked. What? Scout 9. They were investigating a signature near the asteroid belt. They've gone silent, defined silent, no communications, no telemetry. Their transponder is still active, showing position, but they're not responding to hails. Send Scout 10 to investigate. Sir, Scout 10 is requesting clarification on orders. They're concerned about... I know what they're concerned about, Voth snapped. Tell them it's probably just a communications malfunction. Go investigate. But even as he gave the order, Voth knew it was a lie. There was no malfunction. Something else was happening. Scout 10 approached Scout 9's last position slowly. The ship appeared normal on sensors, floating peacefully among the asteroids, but silent. I'm along Scout 9 now, the captain reported. The ship appears intact, no visible damage. I'm attempting to dock and board. Proceed with caution, Voth said. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. Scout 10. Report. Nothing. Scout 10. Respond immediately. Silence. Voth felt his breathing accelerate. 2 ships? 2 ships gone silent within an hour. All remaining scouts returned to formation immediately. We're leaving this sector. His officers looked relieved. The scout ships began turning, heading back toward Techron space. Then Scout 6's captain transmitted, voice shaking. Commander, I'm detecting multiple contacts. They just appeared on sensors. 30 vessels. They're all around us. Voth's display updated. 30 red contacts surrounded his scout fleet. They had appeared simultaneously, materializing from nowhere. Identify those ships, Voth demanded. Unable to identify, sir. They're not broadcasting any transponders. Configuration is unknown. They're just there. Weapons status? The contacts are not hostile. Not moving. Just floating in space around us. Voth stared at the display. 30 ships, surrounding his fleet perfectly, cutting off every escape route. Then, as suddenly as they appeared, they vanished. All 30 contacts disappeared from sensors simultaneously. Where did they go? Voth shouted. Unknown, sir. They're just gone. That's impossible. But everyone on the bridge knew it wasn't impossible. They knew exactly what was happening. They were being played with, tested, watched. Full retreat, Voth ordered. Maximum speed. Get us out of the fringe now. The scout fleet ran. Behind them, in the darkness of the neutral fringe, sensors continued picking up those strange echoes. Signatures that appeared and disappeared. Ships that existed and then didn't. Scout 9 and Scout 10 remained silent. Drifting among the asteroids, at the council station, Tae-sung sat in the observation deck, watching stars through the massive windows. He held his teacup gently, occasionally taking small sips. His communicator chimed. A message from Captain Hana. The Techron scouts are retreating. 2 of their vessels are currently disabled but intact. No casualties. They're experiencing technical difficulties with their communication systems. Tae-sung smiled slightly. Technical difficulties. That was one way to describe it. Another message arrived, this time from Admiral Kyung-min himself. The Admiral rarely communicated directly. When he did, people listened. Ambassador, I understand there's been some excitement regarding my monitoring stations. I want you to know that I'm watching the situation closely. Very closely, that was all. No threats. No demands. Just a simple statement of fact. Tae-sung sent a brief response. Thank you, Admiral. I'm confident the situation will resolve peacefully. In the Techron Command Center, High Chancellor Vex Prime received Commander Voth's report. He read it 3 times, not believing what he saw. 30 contacts appearing from nowhere. 2 ships disabled without visible attack. Energy signatures that moved between star systems. Impossible sensor readings throughout the entire fringe. How many ships do the humans have in that region? Vex Prime asked his intelligence officer. We don't know, Chancellor. The scout reports suggest anywhere from 7 to 50 vessels, or possibly just advanced sensor technology making it appear that way. Which is it? We have no way to determine that, sir. Vex Prime slammed his fist on the console. Unacceptable. Send a full battle group. I want those human stations found and identified. His military advisor stepped forward carefully. Chancellor, with respect, Commander Voth's fleet just retreated in panic. If we send a larger force and the same thing happens, it won't happen to a battle group. Those were just scouts, small ships with minimal weapons. Sir, the scouts reported that none of the human vessels fired weapons. They simply appeared and disabled our ships through unknown means. Vex Prime turned on his advisor. Are you suggesting we fear shadows? I'm suggesting we have no information about what's actually in the fringe. We're operating blind. Then we gather information properly. Prepare Battle Group 7. I want a full investigation of the neutral fringe. Find those human installations. Find their ships. And find out what happened to our scouts. The advisor bowed. As you command, Chancellor. But as he left to issue orders, the advisor felt the same cold fear that Commander Voth experienced. They were poking something dangerous. Something that had been sleeping quietly for 20 years. And now it was waking up. Aboard the Eternal Vigilance, Commander Rin monitored Techron military channels. Encrypted communications filled the spectrum. Orders moving between fleets. Emergency protocols being activated. Fear spreading through their command structure. They're sending a battle group, Rin reported. 40 capital ships. Full combat loadout. Captain Hana nodded slowly. How long until they reach the fringe? 36 hours. Plenty of time. Hana activated the ship-wide communication system. All stations begin preparation protocols. We may need to demonstrate capabilities. Are we engaging the battle group? Rin asked. Engaging? Hana smiled. No. We're just going to let them see what they're dealing with. Sometimes the best weapon is a clear demonstration of power. Should we contact the ambassador? Already done. He's been notified. In his suite, Tae-sung received Hana's message. He read it calmly, then set down his communicator. Everything was proceeding as expected. The Techron were reacting exactly as human intelligence predicted. Fear drove them forward instead of back. They needed to know what was in the dark. That need would lead them to understand why the neutral fringe existed in the first place, not to keep others out, but to keep humanity's capabilities hidden until necessary. Tae-sung poured himself more tea and waited for the next council session. Soon the Techron would understand. Soon every species would remember why they agreed to humanity's terms 20 years ago. Not because humans were cruel, but because they were terrifyingly effective, and they never forgot. Battle Group 7 assembled at the edge of Techron space. 40 warships formed a massive formation, their hulls gleaming under distant stars. Admiral Cax commanded the group from his flagship, a dreadnought that had seen combat in 7 wars. All ships report ready, his tactical officer announced. Cax studied the holographic display. 40 ships, enough firepower to conquer a medium-sized empire. He should have felt confident. Instead, a weight pressed against his chest. Orders from High Command? He asked. Enter the neutral fringe. Locate human installations. Assess their military capabilities. Do not engage unless fired upon. Do not engage, Cax repeated. But we're bringing 40 warships. His second officer spoke quietly. High Command wants strength without aggression, sir. A demonstration, or a target, Cax muttered. He raised his voice. All ships proceed to the fringe. Maintain battle formation. Sensors at maximum range. The battle group moved forward. 40 warships slipping into the dark buffer zone between civilizations. At the council station, an emergency session convened. Delegates filled the chamber, many looking tired from lack of sleep. News of the Techron battle group spread quickly. Council Speaker Yultam stood at his podium, gray skin looking almost white with stress. We're here to discuss the developing situation in the neutral fringe. High Chancellor HFY has deployed military forces into the region. HFY stood in his tier, forearms spread wide. A scientific expedition. We're investigating the mysterious readings our scouts detected. Nothing more. 40 warships seems excessive for a scientific mission, a delegate from the Harkon territories observed. The fringe is potentially dangerous. We take precautions. Tae-sung sat quietly in his seat watching the debate. He hadn't spoken yet. Hadn't needed to. Ambassador Tae-sung, Yultam called. Does humanity have a response to this expedition? Tae-sung stood slowly. Every eye turned to him. We note the Techron forces entering the region, he said calmly. We hope their mission proves educational. Educational? HFY's mandibles clicked. Your monitoring stations are creating sensor interference. Phantom readings, possibly violating the fringe treaties. Our stations have operated for 18 years without complaint, Tae-sung replied. They monitor standard data. Space debris. Radiation levels. Nothing unusual. Then you won't object to our investigation? Object? No. Tae-sung paused. Though I should mention that Admiral Kyung-min's staff contacted me this morning. They expressed concern about large military movements near their installations. The chamber went silent. Concern? HFY asked carefully. Professional concern. The Admiral values the security of his monitoring network. He spent considerable resources establishing those stations. Tae-sung's voice remained pleasant, conversational. I assured him the Techron expedition meant no harm. And his response? He said he would continue watching the situation closely. Tae-sung sat down. Nothing more needed saying. In the neutral fringe, Battle Group 7 moved deeper into the region. Admiral Cax watched his sensors constantly. The readings were strange. Electromagnetic signatures flickered at the edge of detection. Energy patterns that made no sense. Scout reports indicate human installations in 7 systems, his tactical officer said. We're approaching the first one now. All ships combat alert. Weapons ready but not powered. I want to appear strong but not aggressive. The battle group approached a small moon orbiting a gas giant. Sensors clearly showed a structure on the surface. A facility of some kind. Energy readings confirmed active technology. Visual confirmation, the scanner officer announced. There's definitely something there, sir. The main display showed the moon's surface. A cluster of buildings sat in a crater. Solar panels, communication arrays. It looked ordinary, normal. Scan that facility completely, Cax ordered. Scanning now, sir. I'm detecting. That's strange. What? The facility appears to be unmanned. Automated systems only, no life signs. An automated monitoring station? Cax felt relief flow through him. Just sensors and computers? Yes, sir. It's broadcasting standard scientific data. Nothing military. Cax studied the readings. A simple station. Nothing threatening. Maybe the humans were telling the truth. Move to the next installation, he ordered. The battle group traveled to the second location, another automated station, then a third, each one identical. Small facilities with basic monitoring equipment. This is what we were worried about? Cax's second officer laughed. Automated weather stations? 7 automated stations, Cax said. Nothing more. He prepared a report for high command. The human installations posed no threat. Simple scientific equipment. The mystery was solved. Then his communications officer spoke urgently. Sir, we're receiving a transmission. It's human. From which station? Not from a station, sir. From a ship. Cax felt ice form in his chest. What ship? Unknown class. It just appeared on sensors. It's been following us for the past 3 hours. Following us? Why didn't we detect it earlier? I don't know, sir. It's there now, right behind our formation. The tactical display updated. A single red contact appeared, positioned perfectly behind the battle group. 1 ship, Cax said. Against 40? Sir, the transmission is directed at you personally. Cax straightened in his chair. Play it. A voice filled the bridge. Human. Female. Calm. Admiral Cax, this is Captain Hana of the vessel Eternal Vigilance. Welcome to the Neutral Fringe. I hope you found our monitoring stations interesting. Cax activated his communication system. Captain Hana, we are conducting a peaceful investigation of this region. I'm aware. You've been very thorough. There was something in Hana's voice. Not hostility. Something else. Amusement. I've been watching your progress. Watching? Your flagship is designated Techron Alpha 7. Length, 2.3 kilometers. Crew complement 4,200, current reactor output 73%. Weapons are powered but not active. Your second in command is Commander Vex Plin. He's standing to your left. You have a minor hull stress point on deck 47 port side. Should probably repair that. Cax's breathing stopped. She knew everything. Every detail about his ship. How, he started. The monitoring stations you investigated, Hana continued. They're not weather stations, Admiral. They're passive sensor networks. They've been tracking every ship that passes through this region for 18 years. Including yours, that's impossible. Our stealth systems are impressive, really. But we've been developing sensor technology longer than you've been alive. Hana's voice remained pleasant. Would you like me to continue? I can provide detailed information on all 40 ships in your battle group. Crew names, weapon loadouts, hull weaknesses, family histories if you're interested. Cax turned to his tactical officer. Can we track her ship? The officer shook his head. It keeps disappearing from sensors, then reappearing. I can't get a weapons lock. Admiral, Hana said, I know you're trying to target my vessel. I'd prefer you didn't. It makes my crew nervous. Are you threatening us? Threatening? No, I'm providing information. The same way Ambassador Tae-sung provided information to the Council. Full transparency. Cax felt sweat forming despite the cool bridge temperature. What do you want? I want you to complete your investigation. Visit all 7 stations if you like. Scan everything. Then I want you to return to Techron space and report what you found, which is that humanity maintains a very comprehensive monitoring network in this region, that we know everything that happens here, and that we prefer the neutral fringe remains neutral. The connection went silent for a moment. Then Hana spoke again, voice colder now. Admiral Cax, I'm going to send you a data package. It contains real-time tracking information. Please review it. Cax's personal console beeped. A file appeared. He opened it hesitantly. The data showed every Techron military vessel in 3 sectors, not just his battle group. Every ship, position, speed, heading, weapon status, communication frequencies, everything. This is impossible, Cax whispered. It's very possible, Hana replied. We've been watching for 20 years. We know where every major military vessel is at all times. We know your patrol routes, your supply chains, your hidden bases. All this from 7 monitoring stations? Oh, Admiral. Hana's laugh was soft. Did you think there were only 7? Those are just the ones we let you find. Cax's hands gripped the armrests of his command chair. How many? He asked. Enough. More than enough. Hana paused. Return to your territory, Admiral. Report what you learned. And tell High Chancellor HFY that the neutral fringe exists for very specific reasons. Reasons that benefit everyone. And if we don't leave, then you'll get to experience what Commander Voth's scouts experienced. Technical difficulties, communication problems, systems failing for no apparent reason. Hana's voice softened. We don't want conflict, Admiral. We want peace. But peace requires certain understandings. Cax looked at his tactical display. 1 human ship, maybe. It kept flickering in and out of sensors. How many others were watching? How many stayed invisible? I'm ordering a full retreat, he announced to his fleet. A wise decision, Hana said. Safe travels, Admiral. And please do visit again, just maybe with less firepower next time. The connection ended. Battle Group 7 turned and headed back to Techron space at maximum speed. Behind them, sensors detected nothing. No ships, no stations, just empty darkness. The council chamber filled slowly. Delegates arrived looking tired, worried, or both. News of Battle Group 7's retreat spread through the station like fire. No one knew exactly what happened in the neutral fringe, but everyone knew the Techron warships ran. High Chancellor HFY arrived last. His usual confident stride looked forced. His mandibles clicked rapidly, a nervous habit his species displayed under stress. Council Speaker Yultam called the session to order. His ancient face showed relief mixed with concern. We reconvened to discuss the Techron expedition's findings, Yultam announced. High Chancellor, would you share Admiral Cax's report? HFY stood. Around him, delegates leaned forward, eager to hear what 40 warships discovered. Admiral Cax completed his investigation of the neutral fringe. HFY began. His voice lacked its usual power. He located 7 human monitoring stations. All were automated facilities, scientific equipment only. Murmurs spread through the chamber. If that was all, why did the battle group retreat? However, HFY continued, Admiral Cax did encounter a human vessel, the Eternal Vigilance. Its captain provided additional information. What kind of information? A delegate asked. HFY's mandibles locked. Comprehensive data about our military forces, ship positions, crew details, tactical capabilities. The chamber erupted in conversation. Delegates shouted questions. Others activated communicators to contact their homeworlds. Order, Yultam called out. Please order. The noise died down gradually. How did 1 human ship obtain this information? The Moran delegate asked. The monitoring stations, HFY said quietly. They're not simple weather sensors. They're part of a much larger surveillance network. Taesung sat motionless in his seat. He hadn't spoken. Hadn't needed to. Ambassador Taesung, Yultam said carefully. Would you care to comment? Taesung stood slowly. The chamber fell completely silent. Our monitoring stations operate exactly as designed, he said calmly. They observe activity in the neutral fringe. This was their purpose 18 years ago. It remains their purpose today. You're spying on us, HFY accused. Monitoring, Taesung corrected gently. Not spying. There's a difference. What difference? Spying is covert action to gain advantage. Monitoring is observation to maintain stability. Taesung gestured to the chamber. The neutral fringe exists because all species agreed it should. Our stations ensure that agreement is respected. By tracking our military vessels, by tracking all military vessels. Every species, including our own. Taesung's voice remained pleasant. Transparency benefits everyone. A delegate from the Harkon territory spoke up. But you never told us about this capability. For 20 years you've been watching everything. We never hid it, Taesung replied. We simply didn't advertise. When the contact wars ended, humanity proposed the neutral fringe. We offered to monitor it. The council agreed. Everyone assumed we would use basic sensors. He paused. We never said they were basic. Nervous laughter rippled through some delegates. Others looked angry. This is deception, HFY said. It's prudence, Taesung countered. 20 years ago, after the contact wars, trust was scarce. Species feared each other, feared us. The monitoring network provided security, not just for humanity, but for everyone. How? The Moran delegate asked. No one could launch a surprise attack through the fringe. No one could mass forces secretly near another species' territory. The network prevented conflict by making aggression impossible to hide. Taesung looked around the chamber. 20 years of peace. No major wars. No invasions. The system worked. Yultam nodded slowly. He's right. The fringe has been stable. Because we were being watched, HFY said bitterly. Because everyone was being watched, Taesung emphasized, including us. Our own ships appear in the same tracking data. We hide nothing from ourselves. A young delegate from a minor species raised their hand. Ambassador, what would have happened if the Techron battle group had attacked your monitoring stations? Taesung tilted his head slightly. Admiral Kyungmin would have responded. The chamber went very quiet. How? The delegate pressed. Appropriately. No one asked for more details. No one wanted to know. HFY activated his personal communicator. A holographic display appeared above his seat. I want to show the Council something. This is the data package Captain Hana sent to Admiral Cax. The display filled with information, ship positions, fleet movements, detailed specifications for hundreds of vessels from dozens of species. Delegates stared at their own ships listed in the data. Some looked horrified, others angry. A few seemed impressed. This is what humans see, HFY said. Complete intelligence on all of us. Every military secret, every tactical plan. All observed and recorded for 20 years, someone whispered. HFY turned to Taesung. What's to stop you from using this information? Attacking us when we're vulnerable? You could destroy any species here. Taesung stood again. We could have done that 20 years ago. We could have continued the contact wars until we controlled the entire galaxy. His voice stayed calm, but something harder entered it. We didn't. We stopped fighting. We proposed peace. We built this council. Not to dominate, but to coexist. With this surveillance hanging over us, HFY said. With transparency protecting us, Taesung corrected. High Chancellor, answer honestly. In the past 20 years, has humanity threatened any species? HFY's mandibles clicked. No. Have we expanded our territory aggressively? No. Have we demanded tribute? Forced alliances? Imposed our will? No, HFY admitted. Then what exactly are you afraid of? Taesung asked. You fear our capabilities, but capabilities mean nothing without intent. For 20 years, we've demonstrated our intent. Peace, stability, cooperation. Until someone challenges you, HFY said. Until someone threatens the stability we all agreed to maintain. Taesung looked directly at the High Chancellor. You wanted to expand into the neutral fringe. Break agreements made after a terrible war. Change rules that kept peace for 2 decades. Yes, we oppose that. We will always oppose actions that threaten stability. Yultam stood. Ambassador Taesung, I must ask directly. How many monitoring systems does humanity operate? Taesung smiled slightly. Enough. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I can provide. Some things must remain uncertain, otherwise someone will eventually figure out how to defeat them. A delegate from the Krell Empire spoke, voice shaking slightly. We remember the contact wars. We remember what happened to our blockade fleet. They disappeared. All of them. We never found out how. And you never will, Taesung said simply. Some mysteries keep the peace better than answers. HFY slumped in his seat. His forearms hung loosely. So we live under constant observation. Forever. You live under mutual observation, Taesung corrected. We watch you. You can watch us. Any species can request data about human ship movements. We'll provide it. That surprised everyone. You'd share your own military positions? The Moran delegate asked. We already do. Check your intelligence reports. Human fleet movements are documented. We don't hide. Taesung gestured to the holographic display still showing tracking data. The difference is efficiency. We're better at gathering information, but we're not hiding ours. Yultam looked thoughtful. You're saying the monitoring network benefits everyone? Yes, it prevents secret military buildups. Reduces paranoia. Makes war harder to start. Taesung sat down. 20 years ago, after terrible losses, we asked ourselves how to prevent future wars. The answer wasn't bigger weapons. It was better information. If everyone knows what everyone else is doing, surprise attacks become impossible. Unless you lie about your own capabilities, HFY said. We could, but we don't. Lies eventually collapse. Truth endures. Taesung folded his hands. Hi, Chancellor. Would you like to know where our fleet is right now? HFY looked suspicious. Would you actually tell me? Admiral Kyung-min's primary fleet is stationed in the outer reaches, 70 light-years from here. 16 capital ships. Current status, routine patrol. They've been there for 3 months. Taesung pulled out his data pad. I can provide exact coordinates if you want them. The chamber stared. Why would you tell us this? HFY demanded. Because truth builds trust. You know where our fleet is. You can monitor it. Verify it's there. Maybe that knowledge makes you feel safer. Maybe it doesn't, but it's honest. Yultom cleared his throat. I propose we take a vote. Should the Techron expansion into the neutral fringe proceed? HFY stood wearily. I withdraw the proposal. Shocked silence. You withdraw? Yultom asked. Yes, we need time to reconsider our position. HFY looked at Taesung. To understand the current reality better, Taesung nodded respectfully. A wise decision, High Chancellor. The council session ended quietly. Delegates departed, speaking in low voices. The energy from the original vote was gone. Fear had transformed into something else. Not quite acceptance, but understanding. HFY approached Taesung as the chamber emptied. You played us perfectly, the High Chancellor said. From the beginning. I stated facts, Taesung replied. You mentioned Kyung-min's name. One name. That was all it took. Reputations have weight. Terror has weight, HFY corrected. We ran from shadows, from possibilities, from one ship and one name.